Go ahead.
Dairy products have always been part of us. Ever since we were children, things like cheese, milk, and yogurt are nothing out of ordinary. However, since these products are commodities and homogeneous, from the manufacturer's side, competition is nothing of a child's play. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have Saputo, a Canadian milk processor who is currently seeking strategies to help itself remain competitive within this market. But before I go any further, let me introduce you to my teammates, starting from my far right, Kasma, Nopade, Yada, and I, Wasim. We are from Thammasat University, and today we'll present to you the strategies which we believe will help establish the future of Saputo. Now, Kasama will begin the presentation by giving you the overview of the current situation.
Saputo is a Canadian dairy processor company with an ambitious goal of becoming a global one. The company is currently operating in 5 countries and selling to more than 40 countries around the world. Saputo's current business model is a low-cost producer aiming to increase profitability through various efficiency measures. The nature of the dairy industry drives the company to focus itself on optimizing the supply due to unpredictable supply and strict regulation in its home market. Therefore, in order for us to tackle all these issues, we came up with 3 strategies. The first strategy would address the issue of how should the company achieve its goal by expanding internationally and increase its revenue. The second strategy will address the issue of how should the company increase its profitability through profit margin. And last, our third strategy will address the issue of how should the company turn excess supply into a profitable revenue stream. And now, Yada will guide you through our first strategy.
Thank you. So taking a look at the current situation, Saputo has almost 50 production locations in 5 countries. In all of the 3 continents, we share the same market condition, which is a limited growth in the future. Moreover, about 10% of Saputo's revenue comes from export. This is small because in the dairy market, majority of products that are consumed in the country is produced domestically. Therefore, in order to grow, Saputo is looking to go into emerging market, where there's immense growth, favorable market condition, and also unsatisfied demand. The question is, where should they go? We evaluated 5 emerging countries based on the following criteria of market attractiveness, profitability, and barrier to entry. So under market attractiveness, we look at market size, growth, unsatisfied demand, competitive level, and export opportunity to nearby countries. These are the results that we get, and we have ranked China came first in terms of market attractiveness. Under profitability, we look at the prices of raw material and also the gross profit margin of the existing companies in that market. And we have ranked India is the most profitable market. The last one, barrier to entry. We looked at regulation, availability and growth of supply, and also corresponding infrastructure. And these are the results that we have. It indicates that China, Brazil, and India have the lowest barrier to entry. Further, we have weighted all of these factors. We have given 50% weight to market attractiveness because the key objective of this strategy is to grow internationally. So once we have ranked all of these according to the weight, China is the most suitable country to expand into. To successfully do so, there are 3 steps that Saputo must take into consideration: market condition, mode of entrance, and the execution. For the market, we see there are 3 key growth drivers: the rise in disposable income, leading to the growth in premium product segment, and also the increased awareness of dairy products help benefit to the Chinese consumer. All of these satisfy a sustainable growth in the Chinese dairy market. Further, we look into the market structure, and we found that 56% of the market is actually coming from a local and smaller manufacturer. So it means that there's potential to us to enter into the market. But how should we enter into the market? We look at the market sizes of different product categories in the Chinese dairy, and we see that there are the largest and the fastest growing category are the drinking milk, infant milk formula, and yogurt. These 3 account for 90% of the total value of the market. We look at the supply, where these products are sold and where they're coming from. and we found that they are from domestic production. This is because it's difficult for them to profitably transport these products between countries. This means that if Saputo is to successfully go into the Chinese market, they must go in there and produce from that and sell to the Chinese consumers. This leads us to three modes of entrance. We have greenfield, acquisition, and joint venture. To choose between the three, we have taken into consideration the Chinese regulation and market condition. And joint venture is the most reasonable mode of entry to go with. Once we know that we are going to joint venture, the next question is who are we going to joint venture with? We look at the current players in the market, and we see that the top 4 players represent a high barrier to partner with because we have less bargaining power compared to their size. In addition, they already have existing involvement with international companies around the world. So we look at other local companies which have the characteristic of producing only a particular product category, catering only in the regional area with a high market knowledge. And we see that this fits really well with Saputo because we want to start small in a new country. So looking at only the local companies, we factor down by their performance and use 3 selection criteria from Saputo, which is fundamental growth, know-how, and local knowledge. Considering all this, we see that Huishan is the most profitable target to joint venture with. And this is because they have the strongest fundamental growth. They have #1 brand producing liquid milk and powder milk in northeastern China. They have and are expanding the current distribution and retailer network from north up to the center of the country as well. And they also have access capacity in terms of production facility. In terms of know-how, they have a high know-how in upstream activities, for example, farming, because they have the highest milk yield from their special feed. And they also use all of the raw material that they use are coming from their own production. So if these are all that Huishan can offer to us, what can Saputo offer in return? We see that we can improve the efficiency in area of financial, operation, and IT system. We can also leverage on our international brand equity in producing premium liquid milk as well as infant milk powder, because for Chinese consumer, they are not trusting their own domestic brand. And we can also provide them with knowledge regarding product categories that we have, but they don't, for example, cheese and yogurt. We believe that these value propositions will enable Saputo to be able to partner with Huishan in the Chinese market. Coming to the execution phase, the partnership will be 50-50%, and the strategy of the new company will be leveraging on Saputo's knowledge to cater to 3 new product categories of infant milk powder, premium liquid milk, as well as yogurt, leveraging on Saputo's strong branding from Canada and US market. It will be produced in Huishan's existing production, but Saputo will also provide machine and ingredients for yogurt production as well. In terms of distribution, we rely on Huishan's logistic and supermarket network, but we also want to penetrate into hypermarkets since our products are in the premium category.
To implement our first strategy, starting with the negotiation with our prospect Chinese partner at the beginning of the year 2014, followed by the joint venture establishment at the later half of the first year. The transition period where the competitive advantages of the 2 companies are combined are done concurrently with the JV establishment, and our Chinese operation will begin its operation at the later half of the year 2015. And now, Wasim will guide you through our second strategy.
Thank you. Moving on to the second strategy, we know that Saputo offers more than 40 brands of products across its 4 major markets. Out of these 4, most of the revenue 98% of the revenue are from the dairy segment, while the other 2% is from the grocery segment. Also, according to our further research, we found that the majority of the products caters to the mass market. This implies that the price per unit of the product is typically low. On the other hand, if we look at the market side, we see that Saputo accounts for only about 3.31% of the global dairy product market share. This implies that the company has little to none control over its product's price. It means that most of the price is majorly controlled by bigger firms, such as Fonterra. With these 2 factors combined, we see that in normal circumstances, the company will be facing low profit margin. However, the company was aware of this issue and they decided to take initiative. So what did they do? We know that the profit margin is contributed by cost and price of the product. The company decided to tackle this problem by approaching the cost side, by improving the efficiency of their operations and employing policies which help reduce the cost. The question is, does this strategy work? We benchmark the company's net profit margin with that of other companies. We choose Parmalat and Meiji, who are about the same size, and Frontera, who are a bigger size than us. And we see that in general, Saputo's net profit margin is higher than these three companies. This implies that the company is already very effective at managing its efficiency. Now, since the company highly values profit margin as a very important key performance measure, we see that the company can also grow even further by approaching the price side in order to improve the profit margin. In order to do this, we have evaluated and we see that there are available two options. The first one is increasing the price of existing products, and the second one is launching new product which charges higher price at a higher margin. We see that the second option is a more logical option because it allows more flexibility for the company to develop new products, and there is also less risk of losing customers due to price sensitivity because basically the company is currently selling commodities. So we recommend Saputo to create a new brand products to charge a higher price through the process of value adding. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Vita Beauty. What is Vita Beauty? Vita Beauty is a Greek-style yogurt which has high-quality yogurt, higher protein, decreased sugar, richer in taste, and creamier texture. Why do we decide to recommend Saputo to tap into this product segment? It's because Greek-style yogurt is considered a premium product. And we see that this aligns with what the company is currently doing. And by selling premium product, it allows the company to charge the products at a higher price, thus increasing the profit margin. Additionally, our research has shown that the Greek yogurt has grown very rapidly in the past few years. For example, in the year 2013, it occupies about 50% of the total yogurt market in the US. Furthermore, we have seen that by the growth rate of about 100% per year, a lot of first movers are now enjoying the growth of about 200 to 300% annually. Now, since we know what product we'll be bringing, the next question is, whom are we targeting? With our evaluation, we have come up with this specific demographic. We will be targeting the consumers who are about 18 years old and above, majorly women, doesn't have family, and mostly college and post-college women who have about $10,000 annual income. Now, the next thing that we would like to focus on this group of customers is that we expect them to be less price sensitive, considering these products are generally more expensive than the normal yogurt. And we also expect them to be a health-conscious enthusiast. The next thing is brand identity. How are we going to present ourselves to the consumers? In order to build our brand, we try to evaluate why people choose Greek yogurt. And we saw that the top three reasons are, the first thing is they want something to fill their stomach. The second thing is that Greek yogurt is a good substitute for other food. And the third option that it offers more health benefit and nutritional value. We see that the first preference is just the functionality of the product. So we would like to build our brand around the last two preferences. So what are we going to do? Is that we're going to add beauty benefits to our yogurt. The value that we will offer to our customers are L-carnitine, collagen, and added vitamins. The value that the customer will get are weight control, brighter skin, and healthier skin. This will be conveyed through the slogan, "Fill your tummy with beauty." The phrase "fill your tummy" will emphasize on the functionality of the product as something that that's a substitute for other food. And with beauty, we'll emphasize on the added value that we put in our products. The next aspect is distribution. We will be targeting the Canadian and US market, as most of the market are focused on these two areas. And we will also be able to leverage on distribution network, as well as the favoring market condition in Canada, which currently has a regulatory barrier upon other Greek yogurt exporters from coming into the market. The product will be distributed through shelf in the supermarket store located around Canada and US.
To implement our second strategies, starting with the R&D for our Greek yogurt beginning at the later half of the year 2014. The negotiation for a shelf space at our retailers starting at the beginning of the year 2015, and marketing campaigns and product launch will begin at the later half of the year 2015. And now, Nopade will guide you through our third strategy.
Now, let's take a look at the current problem in Canadian and US markets. Currently, there's more production of dairy products than the consumptions, and it's created excess supplies. On the other hand, Saputo also have problems with its long-term contract with suppliers, since they cannot use all the supply that they purchase. So it implies that Saputo needs to optimize the use of its excess supplies to reduce the inventory management cost. So we can do this by two ways, through existing products and through new product categories, which we see that new product category is the most suitable. And we have see that there are 5 main products, which are ice cream, snacks, sweet, frozen yogurt, frozen food, and drinks. And we use these 3 criteria: market growth, market competitiveness, and dairy usage. And it shows that frozen yogurt is the most attractive segment to expand. So first of all, we see the market overview of frozen yogurt, and it shows that people are increasing health conscious and switching from ice cream to frozen yogurt. The current product offering in soft frozen yogurt and hard frozen yogurt that sell in supermarkets. And for the consumer prefer more of soft frozen yogurts, and they like to consume more often. So we see the opportunity gap between the consumer needs and consumer and product offerings. Since consumers want to consume more of soft frozen yogurts, but they only have 2 choices of either have a soft frozen yogurt but inconvenience, or convenient hard softened yogurts. So we like to introduce to you ready-to-eat soft dairy-land frozen yogurts, which this product will be sold in supermarkets. And we will be focusing on low fat, and we will provide the top flavor ice cream in Canada and in US. And this will put under brand Dairyland since it's well known for its yogurt products, and we could leverage on the brand equities. The hard part of this is that how to maintain the soft texture into the packaging. And we introduce you new technologies that will be able to maintain the soft texture when you do the packaging. Now we would be ready to launch the product and supply to supermarkets. So we want to target group into 3 groups, which are students and yogurt lovers and women. So we want to position our brand as a healthy alternative dessert, and also provide with a real excellent taste and texture, and also convenient choice of your daily that can consume anytime and anywhere. And we want to distribute to the current local distribution channels, which, for example, like Walmart or Lobels. And we want to provide a large product size, which we also will provide a refrigerator to our distributors.
To implement our third strategies, starting with the R&D for our frozen yogurt at the beginning of the year 2015, and then for the negotiation with our retailer at the following with that, and ending with marketing strategies and product launch at the later half of the year 2015. So to recap all our strategies implementation, the first strategy will be implemented at the beginning of the year 2014. The second strategy will be implemented at the later half of the first year, and our third strategy will be implemented at the beginning of the year 2015. So now let's take a look at our financial justifications. With a revenue forecast expected to grow by to 11.5% from a base scale of 8.9%, and net income forecast is also expected to grow up to 11.8% from a base scale of 9.3%. As for net profit margin from the second recommendation, it is expected to be improved from 7.1% to 10.6%. As for the cost estimation of our recommendations, the majority of the cost for the first strategy is the joint venture cost. The second strategy, it is the marketing and selling cost. And for third strategy, it is the technological acquisition cost, totaling up in a total cost of 660 million Canadian dollars and a total cost of 800 million Canadian dollars. The project is expected to be funded through a combination of internally generated fund, short-term debt, and long-term debt. And now, Wasim will guide you through our conclusion.
Thank you. By successfully implementing 3 of our strategies, we believe that Saputo will be able to extend its revenue stream by entering into the international market, and also increase its profit margin, and at the same time, create revenue stream by tapping into a new product category. Thank you for your attention. We're now open for Q&A session.
What if the Chinese company doesn't want to cut a deal?
Okay, so we have actually considered about the fact that we might got rejected from the JV partnership, but we also see that because we're going after local, smaller firms, there are tons of choices for us to choose from. So if they don't want to joint venture with us, we can also pursue other joint venture targets. However, we see that within the Chinese market itself, there's been a trend of local companies partnering up with international companies to fight within the premium segment. So we think that that would act as an incentive for them to want to partner up with us.
But why this company want to do business with us? Why that big Chinese company want to do business with us? What would be the advantage for them to get that, Canadian company coming into China to do joint venture?
Actually, the company that we are targeting are not one of those big companies. As we explained earlier in our selection process, we see that the majority of the big company has already went international, partnering with other international companies. So what we'll be focusing on is smaller firms, which we believe that we have higher bargaining power over, because we offer more benefit to them.
In addition to that, what we're trying to offer to them would be, first of all, to improve their efficiency, because the Chinese company, even though they have a really low raw material price, but they still have more net profit margin than us, which means that we have a higher efficiency. So that is one of the things we can bring to the new firm. Also, we'll provide them with brand equity, because without the international brand equity, they will not be able to compete within the premium segment, because Chinese consumers are rejecting the domestic brand, especially with the infant milk powder, which is the highest growing segment, growing at 22%. In this market, all of the large players are coming from internationally, because Chinese consumers think that the product from China is dangerous, because there's been the news like 3 years ago of them putting other...
Because of the raw material?
No, because the Chinese company are known for putting fake milk powder into the infant milk powder for their kids. So if it's a choice for their kids, they're willing to pay more. So we think that this international brand equity that we're bringing in will help them grow in the premium market. And also because the company that we're targeting, they only do liquid milk and powder. We think that we can bring our knowledge to help them move into further categories, for example, like cheese or yogurt that's growing as well.
Thank you.
One question on understand the expansion in China. If you look at the market, is there enough milk? Let's say we're doing a joint venture. Is there enough milk to respond to the Chinese growth?
Yeah, we actually
Is that the best way to do business in China? In other ways, is that better to do a joint venture in China, or is it better to go somewhere else and export in China? Have you looked at these two scenarios and which one?
Okay, so regarding is there enough milk supplies? We have researched and we found out that the percentage of Chinese milk supply in the global market is actually 6%, and it's growing at 25%. So we believe that there is enough milk supply. Regarding your question about why we...
So 94%, at the moment, 94% of milk in China comes from export. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's a growth.
A growth,
So
okay, growth.
25%
Okay,
is a
okay, growth.
And,
But his question is more, is there in China enough milk to supply the country?
Exactly.
Enough cows, enough milk to supply the country?
Another question why we were not operating in other countries, just export to China, is because we researched and we found out that the majority of liquid milk that is consumed in China is actually domestically produced. And this is because it's difficult for you to profitably export liquid milk into the country. And that is because Chinese market is not very sophisticated when it comes to dairy product. They don't eat cheese as much. They eat mostly liquid milk and milk powder. And those are the things that we think is difficult to export and make it profitable.
Our company has grown through acquisitions mostly, and now you're suggesting rather than an acquisition, a joint venture. And I'm just worried that culturally within our company, this is going to be a huge difference, and I don't know how we can rationalize that.
As we analyzed earlier, we see that first of all, we consider the markets and where to grow at the first criteria, and we see that the Chinese market provides the most lucrative opportunity. We see that this has a better advantage over whether it's an acquisition or joint venture. I mean, we consider acquisition within the Chinese market, but if that's not an option, we think that we should go with other option, which is a joint venture, instead of trading all the opportunities for just not acquiring the company, or just not being familiar with not acquiring the company.
Okay, so you're saying that if we could do an acquisition in China, that would be better than doing a joint venture, but you're assuming we wouldn't be able to do one?
We can do it because of the regulation, Chinese regulation protecting its domestic players in the market. Therefore, for the past year, there's been a trend of joint venture, like partnership between like foreign dairy brands into the market. And that's the reason why we have to do joint venture because we can't do
Okay,
acquisition.
thank you.
Yeah.
Were you suggesting 50-50?
Yes.
And how would the joint venture be set up? Are you suggesting we purchase 50% of the shares of this company, or it would be a separate entity who would provide what to the joint venture?
We are expecting it to be a separate entity for
Okay.
both companies to create a new one.
Okay.
And then we would expect to use the capacity from our Chinese partner who
Okay.
need their know-how and they have specialization in their raw materials in that. And we will provide them with brand equity of our foreign brand equity product. And as my friend has mentioned earlier, the efficiency, the system, and everything.
And so to elaborate more, so the culture of working of these two companies still be the same because since it's a joint venture, we just doing the project in China, but still operate the same way that they do.
Let's talk a little bit about the Greek yogurt, your strategy number 2. We've always prided ourselves being sort of low cost solution, and you're now talking about going into a much higher cost product. So can you explain to me how that's going to fit in with the vision of our company, what we've done, and it's kind of going a little bit against the grain of what we've already done, and how to integrate that?
First of all, we understand that the company is operating on the mentality of being a low cost, but we see that in the future, this might not be very sustainable. Because right now, one of the strategies that the company decided to do is that they shift their production to the lower cost area. But then the wages and the quality of life of people is increasing. So one day, the wages and those costs will be increasing. So we see that we are not criticizing that the current practice the company is doing is bad, but we see that by also approaching from the price side, the company will also be able to approach higher margin. Because we see that we believe that the increase in production in cost will be justified by the increase of the margin that we will sell our products to our customers.
To further elaborate on that, on the consumer side, we will be launching a new brand. So the new brand association will not be associated with low-cost brand as we have done before. So there will be no conflict of interest.
In addition to that, so you're saying that we might have to increase our cost in order to produce the Greek yogurt, and according to our analysis, the Greek yogurt doesn't require that many technological advancement. It's just one process in extra of normal production of yogurt. So this recommendation will not incur the company any more cost, but we can charge a higher margin. And according to your question about whether or not this will conflict with the company mission, it actually wants to be the best global processor and it wants to be the most efficient. So we see that in providing a higher price product doesn't mean that the company will be less efficient than before.
For my own education, what is that extra process you're talking about that you have to do?
Generally, the addition process that they put in making Greek yogurt is during the fermenting process. So like they extract more fats or lower quality materials out of the normal yogurt. So it's not like having the entire new production system.
I get it, thank you.
Let me break up the 3 strategies just for a moment. When we saw the cost of the 3 of them, and then you kind of put all the profits into one, can we break down each strategy? Here's how much according to strategy 1 and the profit we expect to get from it, 2 and 3, and let's have a look at it. It's nice that all 3 are profitable, but I want to make sure that.
For the revenue of the first strategy, will go up starting from the year 2015 as we have doing in our implementation plan, and that's the cost breakdown in each revenue and the income.
Okay. And where are these revenue projections coming from? What are you basing it on?
We are basing it on our forecast from the market side. The market share we believe will given the number of cups sold, the number of retailers will be distributed our product through, and so on and so forth. If you would like to see.
Maybe one quick question. Were you suggesting to manufacture the frozen yogurt?
Where?
Where? Which country? Which location?
We're focusing on in the current market, so that we have a stronger foothold, which is the Canadian and US market.
So in North America, the frozen. And you want to export it to where? To China?
No, we will partner with the distribution partners such as like Walmart or Wilbur's, and this will happen.
So manufacture local, distribute local.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the end of the question period.
University team, I invite the public to exit the room so that everybody can do their